You're watching The Penny Hardaway Show, presented by Cook's Pest Control.
A regional rivalry doesn't go the Tigers' way as Memphis falls at Ole Miss. We'll recap the game with the Rebs, sit down Javon Quinly, and look ahead to a gauntlet of a road trip coming up. It's The Penny Hardaway Show. Let's go.
The Penny Hardaway Show is presented by Cook's Pest Control. You don't have to live with pests. Call Cook's Pest Control and get a free quote today. Conway Services, the official HVAC partner of Tiger Athletics. Tennessee Lottery, turning dollars into dreams. Tiger Bookstore, the official merchandiser of Tiger Athletics. AutoZone, when you've got car trouble, you want help from number one. So if you've got a battery problem, head to AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone. And supported by your Memphis area Toyota dealers.
Rivalry games always prepare you, and the University of Memphis got a lesson in Oxford. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Willosh.
Now, Matt in field. Let's check out the highlights against Ole Miss. The Tigers looking to beat Ole Miss for the second straight year. Memphis native Matthew Morrell starring for the Rebs. Our defensive player of the week is Malcolm Dandridge. He stuffs Musa Cisse at the rim. One of 3 blocks from Malco in the game starts a fast break. That Jalen Young finishes with a layup. David Jones was cooking early as well. 1, 2, 3, please. He led the Tigers with 22 on the day. Malco is also our outstanding performer of the week as he gives his former teammate Cisse a welcome back to college basketball gift. Mean one-handed poster. Tigers lead by 7 at the half. Early second half, Javon Quinly tripped up, just throws it off the glass. Count it and 1. Memphis lead as big as 10 at one point. The Rebs come storming back. Morrell was scorching hot from deep. Friendly roll on the 3-ball. He had 20 points on 6 of 7 shooting from deep. Juju Murray was in his bag too. Final minute, tough shot over Malco in the corner. Good. Rebs go up 2. Tigers counterpunch. Quinterly probing inside. Finds Malco for the up and under layup. We're tied up at 77 apiece. But Murray was too much as he took the game over late. Gets into the paint. Off glass for the go-ahead and what proved to be game-winning bucket. Memphis falls on the road to Ole Miss 80-77. They drop to 5-2 on the year.
Coach, so much of the game these days is who you play. And so let's talk a little bit about scheduling. I know you've mentioned Arkansas as one of those that you'd like to get a home and home with. How does the whole process of scheduling begin?
Well, it begins with having an open date. The teams that you want to play against having the same open date or a date that they could work with, that we can actually play the game. And then they have to want to play the game after that. So if they have available days, they got to want to come to Memphis, and we'll always go wherever to play. So that's how it often starts.
Let's talk about this year's schedule. It is a behemoth of a non-conference schedule. How much of that is, we're going to talk about with all due respect to the rest of the AAC. On paper, it looks like it might be a little bit weaker than it's been in years past, and you loaded up the non-conference schedule. How important was that for you this year?
It was very important. You know, I knew the teams that were coming in weren't going to be respected as much as the other conferences, so I knew we had to load up in the non-conference to pretty much do our work early and give ourselves a chance going into conference.
How much of this is you're going to make that call to that coach? You got a relationship with him. Or how much is it they call you? Like the VCU series, how did that all begin? What's the genesis most of the time?
Yeah, for me, it's me calling mostly because most teams aren't going to call us to play unless it's a smaller team. But the bigger teams are not going to call. So we end up calling those guys and trying to get the games. And with VCU, we reached out to see if they could play a home and home, and they could, obviously.
Talk about Arkansas, maybe that's something in the future. We've got Ole Miss, that's an ongoing series right now. Regionally, how important is it for you to schedule teams around the area and generate buzz that way?
Yeah, it's very important. You know, it's the SEC, but hey, you know, it's teams that we played in the past, and you know, there are a lot of fans, SEC fans in Memphis. So when we play those regional games, it gets to be pretty awesome around the city during that time, whether it's Arkansas, whether it's Ole Miss, whether it's Tennessee.
How many more of these are we going to get? Like you got Virginia this year. That is fantastic. Are there any that you can sort of share with us that you are hoping for in the coming years?
I've been talking to Shire about Duke. I would love to get Duke here, home and home. Play at Cameron Indoor and then come to the FedEx Forum. I think that would be pretty cool. And maybe at UCLA, just try to talk to Coach Cronin and see if we could get that, kind of get a West Coast team coming in here and us going out there.
What about Houston? Because that's an old rivalry. Sometimes, like with the Arkansas series, those rivalries are really cool. Could you get Kelvin to agree?
I don't know. Those were those bare knuckle fights. I don't know if he wants any more of those or me, but yeah, no, I would love to, because every time it was an awesome game because we knew who they were and they knew who we were. So I'll try to get the Houston game back again.
You said you're talking to Duke, talking to UCLA. Are there any other off the top of your head, that are on the wish list?
Well, I mean, St. John's, I'd love to coach against Coach Pitino, the legends. That'd be pretty cool.
Ooh, yeah.
Get a Kansas. I'm not afraid to play anyone. We want to play everyone because that sets the bar about where you are, and, we want to play everybody.
And I know you want to be prepared for March, which is just like Rick Pitino and really before him, Denny Crum. That was their philosophy. Some of these start with these preseason tournaments, like the one you just had was incredible. You got Maui next year. Any others on tap that we can, as fans, look forward to?
Just probably these MTEs that'll be like one game deals, like Tennessee went to Michigan State this year and played that game. Probably want to do something like that at home. We probably could play Gonzaga or Baylor or somebody at home or in a neutral site close or whatever. So that will be something that I would like to do as well.
What is the balance of, we just hit on looking at the AAC and trying to load up the non-conference schedule, knowing those teams might not be respected, but also you are probably going to play some of these teams in March, or these are teams of that caliber that hopefully you're going to play in March and getting your team ready.
Yeah, I mean, the experience of playing these teams is what you want, because we won't be afraid to play anyone. We would have seen every style of play, from the Dominican to the Bahamas to our non-conference that's in the States. So that's what you want, because you're going to play every style of game in the NCAA tournament.
And those bonding trips that you can do in the summer, like those are only once every 4 years, right? So you can't do that again for, I guess it would be till 27. Is there a place you want to go for that?
Probably to Paris. I think Paris would be nice.
The Dominican trip, obviously, that was really beneficial for you guys, good competition. I mean, how did that come about?
It came about because we always want to do, a foreign trip every 4 years. We want to go. You have the option to go or not go. And we want to go to, to play against different talent, but to also bond as a team. And I really enjoyed that trip.
How does that work out? What's the mechanism for you to do these foreign trips?
Yeah, they have these companies that, kind of get you in contact with the teams overseas. And then you set up the hotel, the travel, and then the teams that you want to play. And that's as easy as it gets.
I want to hit on this Bahamas trip that you guys just got back from. Obviously picked up a couple of wins. What is the benefit of that trip? What did you see as far as bonding, the team coming together, all those things?
Yeah, it was multiple things that we saw or wanted to see during that trip. Obviously, the bonding to get the guys closer, and then the competition. We want to play the best of the best and put ourselves in position to compete. And we did a pretty good job of doing that.
Is it kind of wild playing in? When you get a wide view, you guys are literally playing in a hotel ballroom. You can't really tell on TV, but that's what it is.
Yeah, it's in a resort, and you walk maybe a half a mile from your room to get to a ballroom on a beautiful resort, and that's pretty cool.
Javon Quinly looks like he might be the next great Memphis point guard, but his journey here has been anything but linear. We'll detail it coming up next.
You're watching The Penny Hardaway Show, presented by Cook's Pest Control.
Welcome back to The Penny Hardaway Show. Penny wanted a battle-tested point guard when he went in the transfer portal this summer. Javon Quinly was the perfect fit because he's no stranger to adversity. Quinly grew up in New Jersey and drew inspiration from those great Nets teams of the early 2000s.
Definitely Jason Kidd was one of them. His passing ability was off the charts. So that's something I still watch to this day, just the way he was able to, pass the ball around the floor, keep everybody involved. It was pretty special.
It didn't take long for JQ to prove he was special in his own right. He was a two-time Gatorade Player of the Year in New Jersey and earned one of the most prestigious honors for any high school player, McDonald's All-American.
What are your memories of playing in that game?
Just the talent I was playing with. You know, it's kind of the first time I was playing in front of NBA scouts. The competitiveness, and definitely just, you know, being able to play with, like, you know, a couple of my Jersey guys.
Quinterly was a top 30 player in his class with basically every major program in the country coming after him. He originally committed to Arizona before an FBI probe into corruption in college basketball swept up the Wildcats. With it, Quinterly's time in the desert was over before it ever really started, and he was thrust into an unwanted spotlight.
It was hard, especially for my family. Just being roped in something that, you know, we kind of had nothing to do with. Kind of didn't have anybody defending us. It was hard. And with Arizona being my dream school from the beginning, and then, you know, getting that offer, the excitement, committing, and then not being able to go there, you know, it was tough.
He had to pivot and chose to stay in the Northeast with one of the original programs coming after him, Villanova.
Yeah, they stuck by me. A lot of schools, you know, was uncertain with what I was involved in or what you know, because nobody defended me, my family, when the Arizona thing fell through. But Villanova stuck by my side, so, you know, that was a big reason, and me still kind of, you know, being able to go there and have that relationship.
Quinterly arrived at Philly with big expectations for himself, but he quickly learned a hard lesson and figured out he didn't make the right choice.
If I had to tell a young high school kid anything, it would be that, to actually sit on that couch and, like, watch these games and don't just take calls. You know, you actually have to see it with your own eyes.
Style thing?
Yeah, it was a style thing for me. You know, Jay Wright, I'm not taking anything away from what they do there. They won 2 national championships, obviously. The winning pedigree is there, the culture is there. I learned how to be a winner there. I know I learned what a winning culture looked like by playing at Villanova, but at the end of the day, it didn't fit kind of my style of play and, you know, what got me up until this point. Just being creative with the ball, you know, kind of being able to play a little bit more freely. That's what I was looking for.
Quinterly entered the transfer portal after his freshman year and landed at Alabama with new head coach Nate Oates. But he was ruled ineligible for the 2019-20 season and had to sit out the entire year.
That was another, you know, very hard thing to do in my career, especially after my freshman year, not really living up to the expectations, and then, you know, having to wait another year to prove myself. It was tough, definitely. But I used it as fuel. I tried to, you know, approach practice every day that year as if it was a game. And that's all I could do that year, you know. I had to just approach practice as if it was a game. But I really felt I could have helped that team.
When he returned to game action, Quinterly's impact was felt right away. His 2020-21 season was highlighted by him leading the Crimson Tide to the SEC regular season and tournament championships, with him being named tournament MVP.
That was amazing. I had to wait 2 years to prove myself at this level, even though I felt like I could have done it straight out of high school had I gone to the right school. So it was amazing to finally see my, you know, go from struggling at one school to, you know, another setback, not being able to play, and then to finally, you know, get a starting role. You know, that was special. That was a very special year, and, you know, that was something that I was working towards, but I definitely felt good being able to prove myself finally.
Quinterly's second full season with Bama was going well too, until the first game of the NCAA tournament when he tore his ACL against Notre Dame.
Mentally, I was distraught. I was just trying to figure out, like, just what to do. I was in a tough spot, you know, and, you know, obviously quickly I had to shift focus to, you know, taking on rehab and trying to get back before the following season because I didn't want to miss half the season. And that's what I was able to do. I was able to come back in about 8 months.
Dealing with setback after setback was hard on Quinterly, and it took a toll on his mental health. Eventually, he realized it was okay to ask for help.
I've had multiple therapists, you know, people that I talk to about, you know, everything that's going on in my life, because it's just not good to bottle that stuff in. And that's something I learned at this level too. I used to just, you know, kind of let everything just bottle it all in and just keep it to myself and just say I'm gonna get through it. But I feel like being able to talk to somebody about, you know, things that are going on, you know, it kind of helped me. And I feel like that's something that helped me get through not only me sitting out that year, but me going through a injury that, you know, realistically wasn't supposed to happen. You know, that's an aspect I feel like that's really helped me get through. Being able to, you know, talk to people and, you know, not bottle everything in.
So you decide to play one more year. You also decide to go into the portal one more time. Walk me through that thought process.
That was definitely a tough decision for me, just because of what I did at Alabama, the time I spent there, how comfortable I was. But I also felt like if I was gonna come back to school, I wanted to put myself kind of in a different situation. I felt like it was time for a change. And you know, that's why I decided to enter the portal. And then when Coach Penny called and I got to come see the campus, I got to come see this facility. And you know, I had played Memphis twice. So I had been in FedEx before. I had seen kind of the energy that was in there when we played them.
What is the Penny influence when he calls and you know his place in the history of the game, and especially as a point guard? When he calls, I mean, how much does that make the antennas go up as a point guard?
Yeah, I feel like, you know, if Penny calls your phone, especially if he calls your phone, you know, you got no choice but to listen. That's a Hall of Fame guy, one of the best point guards to ever play this game. And, you know, he wants dogs. He wants dogs on his side. And that's what I consider myself. And, you know, that's what made it easy for me to make this decision.
We'll find out what this team is made of this week as they travel to VCU and Texas A&M. We'll preview a gauntlet of a road trip coming up next.
You're watching The Penny Hardaway Show, presented by Cook's Pest Control. Let's take a look at the AutoZone road ahead.
All right, coaches, if you haven't had enough challenge already, on the road, VCU, on the road to A&M. I mean, Roanoke, College Station, those are not easy places to play.
No, it's not. And I knew that. When I put the schedule together, I knew we would have 3 games in the Bahamas, and we'd come back and go right on the road for 3 more games. So for me, I just knew that we wanted to be competitive and show that we can play with the rest of the nation.
You guys played a really competitive game with A&M last year, and I don't think we knew how good they would turn out to be. Now, going there this year, there's a little bit of familiarity, but what are you expecting out of them?
Energy. You know, it's going to be a revenge game for those guys. They play with intensity and heart, kind of how we play at home. Their crowd, the 12th man, what they say in football, the 6th man in basketball. I mean, they're going to be loud in there, and they're going to be ready to see us.
And then the Rams are up first, and that, again, is another very difficult place to play. It's been that way even before Shaka Smart.
Yeah, it's a place that creates havoc, that causes havoc in there, and it's going to be loud, high energy, and that's why we want these type of games.
That was tonight's AutoZone Road Ahead. AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination and official sponsor of Tiger Athletics. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Well, the Tigers are getting a lot of frequent flyer miles, that is for sure. Back with a wrap on this one in just a minute.
You're watching The Penny Hardaway Show, presented by Cook's Pest Control.
Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you again next Sunday night. Have a great week, everybody.
The Penny Hardaway Show is presented by Cook's Pest Control. You don't have to live with pests. Call Cook's Pest Control and get a free quote today. Conway Services, the official HVAC partner of Tiger Athletics. Tennessee Lottery, turning dollars into dreams. Tiger Bookstore, the official merchandiser of Tiger Athletics. AutoZone, when you've got car trouble, you want help from #1. So if you've got a battery problem, head to AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone. And supported by your Memphis area Toyota dealers. This copyrighted telecast is an exclusive presentation of Learfield under the broadcasting rights granted by the University of Memphis. Reuse of this presentation is prohibited without the expressed written consent of the University of Memphis and Learfield.